Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to CGTN's special live streaming program, The Hype, where minds collide and ideas amplify. I'm your host, Zhang Zhenli, coming to you live from China's capital, Beijing City. And right now, this city is at the heart of a vital global event. Today and tomorrow, the Global Leaders Meeting on Women, which is a conference dedicated to improve women's empowerment and gender equality, is taking place right here. 30 years ago, representatives from 189 countries signed the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action together here at this city. And it forged a global consensus for gender equality. And today, this meeting carries out the vision to advance women's empowerment. And our roundtable today hopes to discuss key topics of women's growth together with you. Before we start, let's meet our guests. Let's start with you.
Hi everyone, my name is Luona Cai, and I graduated from Oxford with an engineering science degree. And back to college, there were definitely more male students than female students, I believe. And now I'm a serial entrepreneur, mainly working in circular economy and sustainability, and also reducing food waste. So that's my main passion.
Welcome, welcome. And for our online guests, how about let's start with you, Guxi.
Hi, I'm Gushi, an entrepreneur in AI education. I'm a host of a podcast study room and a triathlon enthusiast. I'm very happy to have a talk with all these wonderful guests tonight. Looking forward.
Welcome, welcome. And we have Martina.
Hello, Dacia Hao. I'm a global citizen, originally from Switzerland, currently in Dubai. I'm a business journalist and co-founder of the Frequency School, as well as a consultant and advocate for female empowerment.
Welcome, welcome. And we have Delia.
Hi, everyone. I should say Mabrika, Sakafet, Ni Hao. I am Delia Ducre, and I come from the beautiful nature island of the Caribbean, Commonwealth of Dominica. I am an economist by trade, and I currently hold the position as the head of international department at the Silk Road Forum, and I am also the founder and president of the Ducre Institute, where we focus on human capital development and labor markets.
Welcome. And then we have Xiaonan.
Hi everyone, I'm Xiaonan, or you can call me Mabel. I'm currently in New York. I used to work for CGTN for many years. I covered international relations before transitioning to social issues with a focus on women and gender. In order to better understand the evolving gender dynamics, I'm now back to campus studying sociology. Thank you so much for having me. I miss you guys in Beijing.
We definitely miss you a lot. And welcome, guys, so much for joining our show. And I can't wait to hear all your insights on how women can better grow together and break boundaries together. Well, this year marks the 80th anniversary of the establishment of the UN and also the 30th anniversary of the Fourth World Conference on Women in Beijing. And the rights of women and girls have always been a shared global pursuit. And China has been taking concrete actions to safeguard these rights. And the result of these efforts are reflected in a set of solid data. And now let's take a look at those numbers. Well, first, according to the official data by State Council Information Office, China has integrated maternal and child health services into its nationwide healthcare network that covers 1.4 billion people. And from 2012 to 2023, the numbers of professionals specializing in maternal and child health has almost doubled. And you can see the hospital beds are also increased significantly. And speaking of the public mother and infant facilities, we can see the numbers are also remarkable. And especially I like to mention about the airports. You can see that all the airports in China are fully equipped with public mother and infant facilities right now. And now if you look at the number of females getting education, well, last year, females accounted for nearly half and more of students across all education levels. And when we talk about these numbers of female graduate students in China, you can see that they has increased from 40,000 to 2 million during the past 3 decades. Well, the data and the numbers can go on and on, but behind those remarkable figures, what has changed are the actual vivid, concrete lives of individual women. And just like the 5 guests we've invited today, they're exactly the witnesses and participants of China's progress in women's rights. And now let's hear about their stories. Let's start with you, Lona. I know that you pursued a master's degree in engineering science at the University of Oxford, but later you choose to start your business at the environmental protection section. I'm curious about what is the turning point?
Yeah, I think it's also bring me back to school. At that time, I was studying engineering science, actually both bachelor and master there. It's a 4-year program, very quick. And I remember I was because we have small tutor group, so I was the only female student in that group. So that was interesting. But the turning point, I became very interested in this topic during a course called engineering ethics. So that course taught me like when we make engineering decisions, we need to take care about society and also environment. So that's the starting point. But the true turning point is during my work. I used to work for a tech company, but I joined a community called Global Shaper Community, initiated by the World Economic Forum. It's a community to empower young people. And then I started to get a lot of inspirations from my peers from all different countries. And they were like fashion designer. Do you know what's fashion? It's trash fashion. So they are really addressing the global challenge, like environment challenge and also global warming. So that made me very interested in this topic. So I started to do some small projects, like playing cards to teaching students about trash segregation in Shanghai. But it was not enough. So I felt like I need to be all in this industry. So I started my business in circular economic consulting and also reducing food waste. It's a platform. Yeah, I found my passion and value there.
Well, thanks for the sharing, and we will get back to your professionals and your career path later after we talk to other guests. And now I'd like to ask Gu Xi, you run a very famous growth-oriented podcast that has over 700,000 subscribers across all media platforms. Could you share with us, how did you come up with the idea of launching this podcast at first? And I noticed that you have very unique slogan. Can you tell me more about it?
Yeah, so our slogan is "Progress is sexy." That's our slogan.
Wow.
So my co-host and I are obsessed with both sports and books, and we wanted a platform that we can share structure, practical content that gives more women a clear lens of progress, and honestly, a way for us to observe knowledge better by sharing it. So by claiming progress is sexy, we're trying to take the shame out of self-improvement and make growth feel more aspirational, joyful, and doable. So it's not about perfection. It's about moving one click forward every day. That's the reason, or the origin reason and story.
Wow, I really like the slogan. Could you repeat the slogan again?
Yeah, of course. Progress is sexy. We are very proudly claiming it and sharing it with our community.
Thank you for the sharing. And Xiaonan, since 2020, since 2020, you've covered a large number of women-related stories. Well, for example, from domestic violence to divorce dilemmas to those stories of women that are full of wisdoms and courage and warmth. So I'm really curious, why do those topics particularly resonate with you?
It was back in September 2020. Lamu, a 30-year-old mother of 2, I think you all know her, right? From Sichuan, died after being set on fire by her ex-husband. It was this tragedy that started me on the journey to reporting on domestic violence in China, and also led to the shaping of the Shape Power project. In the following month, I reached out to a dozen victims of family violence and sexual abuse. In addition to lawyers and sociologists trying to present a fuller picture of this phenomenon, including the interplay of social, cultural, and institutional factors behind legal progress, loopholes, public consciousness in this connection. And then I expanded my range of interviewees to a more diverse population, from women entrepreneurs trying to break glass ceilings to scientists and coders trying to earn their place in the men's world, from housewives trying to break free of domesticity to mothers fighting for custody for their children. And these women come from different social backgrounds and have different struggles to navigate. However, they are bound by their courage to defy gender stereotypes and fight for dignity, identity, and freedom. The reporting process was very unsettling and sometimes heartbreaking, but it's also very encouraging and empowering, because from these women, I saw a power. It's a power beyond she power. It's a human power. That was the most fascinating part about this whole project.
Wow, I really like what you said. It's beyond she power. It's more than human power. And among all the stories that you've covered before, is there any person struck you the most or leave the deepest impression on you?
I think Tashi Joma is one of them. Back in early 2021, Joma started to get famous online by selling Tibetan food and handicrafts online through her live streaming business on Taobao. So I think it's a good story about how technology helps women improve their livelihood. So we went to Qinghai province to report on her story, but I found out more. It was in February, very cold. The air was rarefied. The whole village was very bleak. When we arrived, Joma was already waiting for us in the door. She was just standing there, very radiant and upright, like a matriarch in a patriarchal village. Back then, she was in the middle of a backlash because live streaming means that she had to show her face in public, which was a taboo in her village. She told us she was even called a psycho or even a prostitute by her neighbors. It was something that women should never do. So what were women supposed to do in that place on the roof of the world? Well, mostly to serve men, to give birth, to do seasonal labor. There's one thing she said I think I would remember forever. She said, love and hate have nothing to do with our Tibetan women. However, she's the one who dares to love and hate, to break the mold, to break the cycle for generations of women living in that place by challenging the very traditional cultural norm of womanhood and creating wealth for her fellow villagers through her e-commerce business. So on the surface, it's a story of how technology helps improve women's livelihood, but it's more of a story of love and hate, of stigma and dignity. I have been in touch with Joma all these years, and I saw her business expand day by day. I saw she was elected a local advisor, and she had become a face of her village. The face of her village, which is no longer a taboo by showing one's face. And she traveled outside Qinghai multiple times to Xi'an, to Beijing, to coastal areas. So she's living her dreams by traveling to see the outside world, and she's also helping other women to live their dream too.
Wow, thank you for the sharing. I mean, through your storytelling, I feel like I was there with you to film this heart motivating stories. And what made me feel relieved is to hearing that after years that she's now find her way out to make her career, and her face is now, like you said, the representative of the village. I think that's really a relieving, and also shows that China's that's exactly the example of what China has been doing in recent years to promote women's rights. And well, we actually found a short clip of the story that you filmed. Let's take a look.
乡政府的这个镇长有一次就过来，然后说我们一直想招一个做电商的，然后因为这个乡政府里有一个电商扶贫一个项目，刚好放到你家，哎呦，我就觉得就知己一样的，就第二天第三天感觉就突然慢慢的好起来了。 买的都是我们青海家乡的特产牦牛肉干、野生黑枸杞、蜂蜜、冬虫夏草等等一些产品。通过直播间能把我们藏族的一些发饰呀、包包呀、香包呀、鞋垫卖出去，我特别开心。
好漂亮，这套衣服的，我们家装扮也挺漂亮的。非常感谢玫瑰花，谢谢桑吉同志。
就在这个小小的这个屋子里面，可以看到外面的世界，可以听他们说外面有多么多么精彩。
既然选择了要做一件事情，就要一直坚持的做下去。
我想肯定以后特别想出去看看。
女人不应该浪费在草原上，再反复的去寻回我们以前的那种生活，放牛放羊，然后再结婚生孩子。你献给雪山，要与你的雪山，你把美丽献给草原，要与你的草原。卓玛，卓玛。
Wow, it's really nicely made film, and it's really touching, and I can see the tears in your eyes, Xiaonan. But that's very nice.
Yeah, I really miss these women. They're so courageous.
You're always welcome to come back to China and to cover more stories with us about Chinese women. And now I'd like to talk to Martina. You're also an outstanding journalist, and you've covered so many women's stories. Is there any women that you interviewed before or you worked with before that influenced you so much?
Every woman is a treasure box of stories, and truly remarkable and outstanding and inspiring, as we have just seen and witnessed on this program. I speak 9 languages and have traveled all around the world to find some of these women and really shed a spotlight on themselves and their work as well. I've lived in countries from China to Yemen, United Arab Emirates, Syria, US, Switzerland, UK. And every time you meet a woman, you also meet inspiration, creativity, resilience, and so much strength. But one woman that really stood out was Jane Goodall. I had the opportunity to interview her several times at the World Economic Forum in Davos, as well as other places around the world. The primatologist and anthropologist who passed away a couple of days ago. It's really a loss for man and womankind. She has been such a force of nature to defend climate change, to really stand up for environmental protection for the next generation. She has dedicated her life, which I find truly respectable and honorable, and launched this global movement of really being conscious about nature, and that every action, every step that we take in this world has some kind of reaction, and that we need to be really careful and protect our planet Earth, our Mother Earth, because this is the only place we have.
Well, nicely said, Martina. And Delia, you are an economist who has long focused on labor markets, trade and investment policies, and human capital development, etc. I'm curious, how did you first develop an interest in these fields, and do women face any dilemmas in these fields?
Thank you so much for this question. But before I answer this, after hearing my fellow panelists' stories, it's moved me so deeply. And I just have to say thank you to all the women, the unsung heroes, that their stories are not out there yet. But thank you for all of the sacrifices that you have made so that we are here today. From our past to even now, we have so much history, so much hurdles and challenges that is in our DNA as women, that the journey is ever ongoing. And to hear that the stories are still are still being highlighted, and to hear that we are still continuously pushing forward to have a better world for not women, but just us human beings, because at the end of the day, we are just humans and we are trying to find the best way to thrive together as one. So I just want to say that first before I delve into my own question. I think it's really important to acknowledge that, and also acknowledge all our mothers, because through them we are here now. So they birthed the world. So thank you so much to all the mothers out there that made it possible for us to sit here today. So now, why did I start, or why did I decide to focus on my own expertise, which is human capital development? It's because of my own personal journey in China. I have been in Beijing for almost 20 years. I came in 2007, quite young. I know I still look very young too, but don't let the looks deceive you. I've been in Beijing for almost 20 years, and I consider Beijing my home. Through that journey, it it allowed me to learn a lot about myself, but also about my colleagues. I came as an international student under the initial diplomatic arrangements between my country, the Commonwealth of Dominica, and China. I was the third batch of international students coming to China. And because of this new partnership with my country, it's allowed me the opportunity to enter a sector, a society that was so quite, it's very different from mine. And it also allowed me to meet different peoples from all around the world with different experiences and traditional customs. And I noticed one thing, that we all had one exact thing in common, regardless of our gender, our language barrier, is that we came here to learn, and we came here to help our countries develop while also helping ourselves develop. But how was that possible? It is because of the global policies. It is because of the relationships, the diplomatic relations between different countries. Now, we are grateful, and we are very much humbled by these opportunities. However, we do know that on the grassroots level in implementation, there's always room for improvement, right?
Mm-hmm.
So through those experiences, I saw a need. And me being the person that I am my mother's child, my father's child, that I see a problem and I want to solve it. And I saw that as my opportunity to be a problem solver, helping the people who are benefiting from these global policies to be able to effectively be contributors to the society that they are a part of or strive to be a part of. But not only that, but be the best versions of ourselves. We need to understand ourselves to be able to contribute to the society that we are part of. If we don't know ourselves, how can we know we can be a journalist? How can we know we can be an advocate? How can we know we can be a singer? We need those tools, and we need those markets and those support systems to be able to do that. And my time in China has really cultivated that need of wanting to be that problem solver, because I've seen it work through the Chinese government investing in their people, investing in their development. Even, and what is this example that we see every day? High-speed trains, even the CGTN that we are speaking on now. This is the direct result of training from your country to be able to give output to help benefit not only yourself, but also the wider society. And this is why we are here We are here on this earth to be able to help each other develop and to move forward to a brighter future. And I do know, yes, saying brighter future can be cliche, but it really is like this. We now have a new challenge, which is climate change. And I do know that there are different opinions about this topic, but we are here together and we can see ways to move forward to really find a way to use our human capital, our labor markets to solve these pressing matters. So I guess I've answered your question and then added a little extra in it as well.
Well, that's definitely well said. And especially I like what you mentioned earlier about like we're all the same. And especially that's the reason why we're making this show, because we're a salute to all the stories that are untold, to all the women that are sacrificed. And that's very well said. And now we've heard enough about your perspectives and the stories of your professional journeys. I'd like to dig a little bit deeper into your personal growth. Well, first I'll have a question to Guxi, because I know you're not only an internet entrepreneur, you're a self-media content creator, you're also a passionate multilingual learner, and you're also a senior triathlon enthusiast, if I may say that. So I'm curious, has this cross-border experience had any impact on you?
Yeah, of course, and obvious. I see growth as organic and fluid, so exploring multiple fields lets me merge different mental models. Like sport gives me discipline and recovery, languages let me see the world in higher definition, and entrepreneurship pushes me from bias to action. So together, they create a multiplier effect. When I face a problem, I can pull from several toolboxes, so my solutions are more creative, resilient, and sustainable. Hence, since you mentioned that I've tried different territories, different aspects, and different tracks, I would encourage women to explore as many fields and possibilities as possible, because your own unique pattern will emerge from cross-fields experience.
Well, that's very well said. We should try more, try to find more possibilities of ourselves. And speaking of limitation, well, I have a question for Xiaonan. Looking back on whether it's your career as journalist or your personal growth, is there any moment that you feel like you broke your own limits?
I would say the most recent one might be the time I became a mother. I have been a workaholic for a decade. My life had been revolving around my work, my projects, my interviewees. All of which, however, all of a sudden was overturned when I became a mother. I always feel lost, feel scared. The transformation is very difficult, or to say devastating. However, motherhood also opens the door to many things I haven't realized before. For example, I used to see breastfeeding as a shackle which dictates a woman's time and body. I never thought I would breastfeed for a year, which I did. Because I found it created a bond, a maternal bond I have never experienced before. So I started to think about whether motherhood and selfhood, whether creation and procreation are really in conflict with each other. So I started doing research and trying to find answers from books and female writers' experiences. And it seems feminism or gender equality doesn't see breastfeeding along with other traditionally feminine things as a shackle. It's more about the right to choose. And I'd also like to share another point, is that being a mother has given me a lot of new things to think about. There was one time when I was nursing, I suddenly recorded a conversation with a mother, one of the interviewees in the She Power project. Her son was taken away by her husband in a divorce case to gain custody. And so this woman was not able to see her son for 7 years. So she was she cried every day. I saw her suffer every day. I followed her for nearly half a year. I followed her to home, to the court. It was just outside the court that our camera was smashed by her abusive husband. And I saw her suffer every day. And one day she was crying very hard in front of a camera.
Well,
And
I'm sure the
I
stories.
asked her, why
I'm
don't you
really
get
looking
married
forward to
again
hearing
and
the
have
rest of the
another?
stories, but we have short time limitation, but we will get back to you very soon.
Okay.
Oh, well, your experience just reminds me of a famous Chinese saying called 为母则刚, means being a mother. Once a woman becomes a mother, she will be as strong as a steel. That means women will become so strong, and she has the capacity to conquer all the outcomes and all the challenges along the way. And Delia, I know you've paid very close attention to women's rights and interests, as well as child protection. So, and you've also participated in a lot of activities in this regard. So could you tell me more about it?
Thank you for this very timely question. Well, first, I would like to also add that I am also a member of a dynamic association in Beijing called the Commonwealth Society of Beijing, which is comprised of women from across the Commonwealth, from diplomatic women to professionals to students. And what we have done is that we have used our time here in China to also give back by working with migrant children, working with women from across China to be able to understand their needs and find a way to also contribute back. China has done so much for our countries. We wanted to reciprocate as well. And with our work here, we work very closely with the All China Women's Federation, where we raise funds and then they help us identify projects across the Chinese nation to help support, whether it is with schools, whether it is with water filtration, whether it is with reading, whether it is with tuition. We find a way to help support the daily lives of women and children across China through our work. So this is quite close to my heart because I've been a part of this association for over 10 years now. And if I have time to just share this short example of one child that really stuck with me was this young girl. She was an orphan, and unfortunately, again, she was quite ill, required heart surgery. But what stuck with me was her smile, and the smile and the innocence of her eyes. And this really just told me that, or really just spoke to the human spirit and the innocence of it all, that what are we here for? We are here for this generation and next generation. What are we doing? What is our focus? What is our purpose in life?
It's really touching hearing this story.
Yes, so that is really it. So
I can feel, my heart's with you. I also feel you're getting so much emotion, and when you're talking about this story, I can feel the love, the passion about this. And we will get back to you pretty soon. And Lona, I know we've talked about so many possibilities, and we've seen so many examples of women breaking their boundaries and becoming whatever they want to be. And so you're an expert in economic development, environmental protection field. So I'm curious that in the field of climate and environmental protection, do women have any unique advantages? And what kind of role do you think women are playing in this field?
I think what I have seen is women are not just participants in sustainability, they're the real drivers. Just want to echo Makina. I also met Dr. Jane Goodall during the World Economic Forum at Davos. I got the chance to hug her and talk to her. I really feel the female power. And for a lot of conference and a lot of forum I go, I think I say more females. I often say more female participants, more female speakers than males. I think the main reason is because females have qualities like empathy and also long-term thinking, and also we really care about our communities and also the future generations. And I think for issues, especially like climate change, it's not a short-term game. It really needs long-term investment. That's our advantage. And for our reducing food waste platform, I have to say like 80% of our users are females.
Wow.
So we really see the woman power. And on the other side, we also connect with business, right? Mm-hmm. So if we go to a business, a restaurant, a bakery, which is run by it's woman-led, it's often quite easy to talk to them, and they understand our values and why we're doing this. So they're more willing to join in our movement. So we really see, I think females have the power to connect values through actions.
Wow, that's very well said. And as a female entrepreneur yourself, would you like to share with us what kind of measures or you think that enterprises can do to empower women to better achieve the gender equality?
I think first we need to see the reality of like the struggles of our female employees nearby, what they're doing in the office, and the invisible housework they need to take. So after we say this, we can offer them structural support, like flexible working hours and saying returning mother supports, and also give more leadership opportunities for women to let them speak up. So we want to create a safe space for female employees to speak up and be the next decision maker. But on the other side, we also need to say what's far away from us. Like I want to echo to Xiaonan. I was really touched by her story that like in the rural village, their female suffering from.
Yeah, I think that film, that story definitely touched us all. And when I watched it, even though I've watched it a lot of times, but every time I watch it, it just echoes with my heart, resonates with me.
Yeah, so either nearby or far away, we need to say the struggle and say every struggle is real. So we want every woman to be seen, to be protected. And from awareness, we really need to take actions to support each other.
That's very well said. And now I want to get back to Martina. First, I'd like to say congratulations on winning a Guinness World Record this year for creating a song with most participants from different countries. I think that's 193 countries, right? Women from 193 countries. And could you share with me?
Thank you so much. It's actually 195 countries according to the United Nations. So with the Frequency School that I co-founded last year with a US Grammy nominated producer, a singer and songwriter Major, we set this new Guinness World Records for the title Most Nationalities to Contribute Vocals to a Musical Recording or a Single Song with the 195 song. So here you see the Guinness World Records. So this is a shout out to all the women around the world. I got one woman from every country on the planet to say the word equality or pingdang in her native tongue. And we produced it with the sound of birds, the heartbeat of the women. And it really went viral. We had the 528 hertz love frequency that we incorporated as well. So it's a very deep, a very spiritual song as well. And the main vision was really to unite women from all walks of life. We have lawyers, we have disabled, we have doctors, we have any woman from around the world. It was quite a marathon to find one in every country on the planet. And it really is also a show that music is a universal language, which is transformative, but can really unite everybody around the planet. So we really hope to bring more peace, more resonance, and more unity around the world with this global mission. And we stand up for gender equality, and we want to spread positivity and to show that women empowering women is a force to be reckoned with. We don't need support, we don't need women supporting women, but women empowering women, because we're already strong enough.
Wow, that's very well said. And thank you for telling us your intention of producing this project, and also what kind of philosophy and idea you like to convey through this song. And I know I especially like the idea that you mentioned earlier when we talked about the song. You mentioned that you created a community with all the women participating in this project. It just reminds me of a concept called global village. It's just beautiful to see so many women, regardless of their cultural backgrounds or language barriers, all gathered to finish one project. It's just beautiful. And speaking back to you, Martina, you're not only an outstanding journalist, you're also a female entrepreneur, an artist, and also a mentor at Tsinghua University, and also a host. So I'm curious, what is the driving force that makes you willing to attempt so many different fields and achieve something?
Thank you so much for this question. I really believe that the social impact that we as women, either as individuals or as a collective, can make is the biggest driving force and motivation for me. I have very big dreams, and I believe that sky is not the limit anymore. We have to always remember our childhood dream as a girl. What did you want to become when you grow up, right? And so I'm living my dream, but really working hard, and having visions like, for example, on 11/11, I'm not going to participate in the Singles Day and go shopping, but I will launch the first international day called World Frequency Day, again about sound, about positivity, about resonance and unity, to kick off a global movement to unite everybody for mental health, for wellness, for well-being. And this is my big ambition in life, to really go across cultures, connecting people from all walks of life, and build this global village or community that you mentioned. Your network is your net worth. The stronger it is, the bigger we can make an impact. And this is such a beautiful purpose. I wish that every woman in the world has such a purpose in life, and also dares and has the courage to start somewhere. You all know the Chinese proverb which says, 千里之行始于足下 by Lao Tzu. So every journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. So as a global citizen and loving music as the international and universal language, I really feel like together we can make such a big change in the world for the next generation as well.
Thank you. What you're sharing is definitely illuminating and also enlightening. Well, as we're so touched by cross-border spirit, we cannot neglect those common struggles that a lot of women are facing right now. So, Guxi, you mentioned earlier during our conversation that 93% of the subscribers of your podcast are women, and every day you receive large numbers of submissions from them. So I'm curious, can you share with us what's the most common topic that they share with you?
Sure. I'm very honored to have received so many messages and feedback from our listeners. And it's true, 93% of our subscribers are women, which makes me even happier. And most of the messages we get circle around a shared core. That is how to feel solid inside while moving forward outside. We've been asked how to steady self-worth amid performance pressure, like imposter feelings, like burnout, like the fear of being too much or not enough. And underneath it all, they are seeking tools, I think, tools to learn efficiently, to manage your energy, and find a community that has your back. That's why the reason we created Study Room, our podcast, is to create a space and platform for them to share their concerns, to share their fear, and to seeking solutions not only from the host, but also from their peers, from the community members.
We're really glad to have podcasts like you to give all the girls and female the advices they needed. And Lona, just like what Guxi mentioned earlier, that when facing this unknown and uncertainty, it's easy for people to get scared and get confused. So I'm curious, do you have any suggestions you can provide for our young people, or like women or girls, to better deal with the circumstances?
Yeah, just want to add that I'm also a big fan of Guxi's podcast.
We all are.
I listen to every episode. I think, yes,
Oh, thank you.
this age definitely has a lot of uncertainties, especially in the artificial intelligence age. I think we all need to embrace uncertainty because it means opportunity. So we need to be anti-fragile. So there are several ways which I think, like, find your own meaning, find your own passion, not just follow the trend. We know AI is a big trend, but you don't have to work in AI. You need to find your the solutions you want to work in. And second thing is to say no. I think we all have the right to say no. So set our boundaries. We're not taking others' expectations as our own aspirations. And the third thing is learning by doing, because we can't be perfect. We're not seeking for perfection. So what we really need to do is based on our experience, and we start to do something, and we learn, and then we iterate.
Wow, these tips are so durable and so authentic. And Guxi, just like what Lorna mentioned, that besides the personal ability to cope with questions, cope with the issues, we also need support from the society. So during your observation over the years, do you notice any changes or advancements in Chinese society that they can help women better to speak up?
Yeah, before I start to share, my little puppy starts to bark, so you must want to
It's
say
okay,
something.
nobody can say no to a puppy.
Yeah, so to answer your question, I've seen pretty solid progress. First, the inequalities women are facing are no longer the elephant in the room. They're being discussed with nuance and real stories across platforms like the stand-up comedies, right? So on our podcast, when we share confusions, me and my co-host, we share our heartbreak and our small wins from our own growth stories and how we train, how we deal with our life setbacks, challenges. I love seeing the comment section turn into a support network because we get so much energy and support from people's comments on every episode of our podcast. That's why we keep pushing coalition building, which is the coalition, the allies of shared interests. And we encourage women to swap their playbooks, to open doors for each other, to share their own strategies, share their own takeaways from their personal journeys, and celebrate the summit feeling together. Because I believe confidence is contagious when it's shared. Wow. That's the point, the ultimate point of building a community.
That's very well said. And even though China has been steady promoting promoting women's power and women's empowerment and development, women around the world are still facing numerous challenges. So Xiaonan, I know you've done some research and found studies on this field. Can you share with us?
Yes, I did some research. China is doing pretty good in recent years. However, globally, we have seen progress, but the statistics are far from being promising. For example, women hold around 1/3 of managers' roles globally and 1/4 parliamentary seats. As for protections and workplace, women only enjoy 64% of men's legal protections. That's the latest data from World Bank. And how about women outside the workforce? There's UN data, 66% of women outside labor force say taking care of their family and children is the main reason to keep them out. So we can see that in both developed and developing countries, it's still largely women who are taking on domestic care work, which is unpaid and unrecognized. Men are largely out of the picture. For example, I have an elective, it's called Transnational Approach to Gender and Sexuality. And among us 14 students, there's only one male student. So it's very important to involve men in this whole process, from housework to development planning to policymaking. And second, 30 years ago, the Beijing Platform for Action was a milestone, right? Because it clearly established that women's rights are human rights, that violence against women is human rights violation. However, today, in many places around the world, gender-based violence, including intimate partner violence and human trafficking, is not considered human rights violation.
It's really heartbreaking to hear that there are so many women out there in the world still suffering from those challenges and such difficult positions. And Delia, you've lived in China for 20 years and you witnessed China's changes over the years, and specifically in terms of women's progress in women's empowerment. So can you share with us is there any one specific practice of Chinese government that you think we can do it as a reference to other countries in Global South or the Belt and Road Initiative alongside?
Yes, there definitely is the focus in women and children's healthcare. That is really something that could be copied across the Global South and the Belt and Road. Why I say this is because you can see a rise in the policies or in the healthcare industry where women and children are being more focused on their health, more focused on their well-being. You're seeing hospitals, specialty hospitals being built, and specialty doctors are in the rise to take care of these women and children. Now, this focus, yes, other countries do have that, but you hardly see the in the numbers of these specialty hospitals. Let's say, for example, Beijing. You can go to any district and I can assure you there is at least one specialty hospital just for women and children. If you were to go to another country, you would have to search and maybe find one or two in the whole country. Imagine how large Beijing is as compared to one country. Now think about China. In all of China, every province, in every district, there is a women's and children's hospital. And that is phenomenal. It's not something that is loud spoken or it's shouting up at the top of your voice. Phenomenal. It is in the day to day, which is what is the most important thing, your day to day. How do you solve your day to day? And they have found that way to integrate women's and children's health care in day-to-day practice. So I believe that from that focus for the Global South and the Belt and Road, we could improve in the number of women and children specialty hospitals across our regions.
Thank you. That's very sharp observation and also very caring observations you are offering us. And China recent years have never stopped promoting empowering women's rights, whether it's domestically or globally. Well, and I just like to quote a speech from this morning from Chinese President Xi Jinping, and I quote, "In the next 5 years, China will donate another $10 million to UN Women, earmark a quota of $100 million in China's Global Development and South-South Cooperation Fund for implementing development cooperation projects for women and girls in collaboration with international organizations." And there's more of this announcement, but I would not be able to elaborate on this show because of the time limitations. But in all, we can see that China's ambitions and China's constant actions to achieve the goal of community with a shared future for humanity, and also to accelerate the new process of women's all-round development and to jointly create a better future for the human race. And we actually launched a vote on multiple social media platforms regardless of this project, this topic. So let's hear what our netizens has to share with us. Well, so first, when they're asked about, let's see this, if you could choose about, if you could choose one photo that captures what women's life have transformed, what would it be? So we can see that 54% of the people, the voters, have chosen that everyday life, ordinary women doing extraordinary things. And we have received some comments. For example, we have women leading in every aspect in our nature, and we see people commenting on women leading the revolution. And also we see people saying that women, simply as men, are the half of the human population. So their rights are so important. And also, well, we see another vote is about her balance, finding strength in the chaos. And we can say that when asked about what does success mean to you, we can say that 55% of people choose that self-care and contentment, time to rest, reflect, and recharge. And there's some people comments on this that no regret at best, deathbed, success means being happy. So we've received so many comments and voters about this topic, but we won't be able to present them to you. But at the end of our show, I have two questions to you all. So first is that we know this year is the 80th anniversary of the United Nations founding, and also this year China's hosting the World Leaders Meeting on Women. So if you can imagine, what kind of world do you hope that future women will live in? Maybe let's start with you, Lorna.
I hope women in the future will have freedom to choose, like the freedom to shape their own life without being defined or limited by gender.
That's well said. And what about you, Delia?
This question is really, how can you answer that question, really?
We want so many things for women.
I will answer it in two parts. One, you rightly said that we are at a history-making moment, the 80th anniversary of the UN General Assembly, and also celebrating Beijing 30 with this recent global leaders meeting on women. And in both meetings, my president of the Commonwealth of my country, the Commonwealth of Dominica, she was at the forefront of these two meetings. And why I mention her is because she is the first female president of the Commonwealth of Dominica and also the first Kalinago woman, which is the native people of Dominica. What I see in the future is that they are no longer firsts. They are just people rising to the occasion based on their skills. I see no gender. I am just a human being. This is my skill. I am capable of doing the job. And seeing my president on that stage from the nature island of the Caribbean, it makes me proud and also exemplifies the work that women, even from small nations like the Commonwealth of Dominica, can make an impact, can go to the United Nations and tell everyone that it's time for a woman to lead the United Nations, and also come to Beijing, being invited by presidency and speaking to the world, representing women as well. So it's time for us to be seen for our skill.
Thank you.
Nothing else.
That's very well said. And what about you, Guxi?
So my vision is pretty short. I just wanted to see a world where women can live unapologetically, where they can write their ambition, their desire on their faces with visible support around them to help them achieve their dreams.
Okay, and what about you, Martina?
I have a dream where gender equality is not even a topic anymore, a world where they can dream, create, lead, and really love without fear or any limitation anywhere on this planet Earth, a world where safety and respect and opportunity are truly universal, and every girl grows up believing that her voice matters and her potential is limitless.
Well said. And what about you, Xiaonan?
Mine is quite similar with Luana's vision. I hope women can live in a world where all of them will have the right to choose.
Well, we all hope the world that we describe together will come sooner. And also, if you have to choose one sentence to all the women around the world, what would it be, your suggestion, Lona?
Dare to say no and dare to leave the environment which cannot no longer nurture you.
Wow, dare to say no. That's very deep. And what about you, Guxi?
Well, mine is pretty obvious. Progress is sexy to all of you and to all of us.
Okay, and Martina?
dream big, have a vision, and just do it.
Okay, and Xiaonan?
Be nobody's darling. It's a quote from Alice Walker. It means take the contradictions of your life, know your own worth, not try to seek approval from other people.
Okay, well, thank you so much all for sharing with us today. And I feel so honored and so moved to hear from so many wonderful women from different industries. And it really inspired me a lot. And it's really a journey to hear what their story is about and to see how they conquer their difficulties and how they chase their dreams. And today's roundtable made me can't help but think that to truly stress global women's global dilemmas, we need to create and establish a sustained long-term communication mechanism, which is why this global leaders meeting on women comes right at the perfect time. It arrives right when the world's needed the most. As we're coming to the end of our show today, I like to finish our program today by quoting a sentence that really touched me today. It's from the speech made by Chinese President Xi Jinping this morning. I'd like to share with you. He said, "On the new journey of Chinese modernization, every woman is a start." Well, that's the end of our show today. Hope you're enjoying it. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.